Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. We're tackling some seriously cool stuff today. Stuff you guys have been digging into, no code, the metaverse, all that good stuff. And trust me, this deep dive, it's going to leave you with a lot to think about.
Yeah, we're not messing around here. This is like next level web dev stuff.
Exactly. Like, we're strapping on jetpacks when everyone else is still figuring out how to hotwire a car.
And we've got the keys to a flying car, actually.
Okay, I like where your head's at. But for those just tuning in, let's give them a quick download, right? When we say no code, imagine like building a website, an app, a whole digital project. But instead of mountains of code, you're using visual tools, drag and drop elements.
Like digital Legos, but way more powerful.
Way more powerful,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah, one of the articles you sent actually highlighted this statistic. Blew my mind. Something like 80% of businesses using no code are getting their products to market faster. And that's huge for entrepreneurs.
Huge EU, especially if you're not a coding wizard, but you've got these amazing ideas just waiting to be unleashed, you know?
Exactly, and that's the beauty of it, right? It's like this superpower anyone can tap into.
It really is. But speaking of unleashing amazing things, that brings us to the metaverse.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Think of it this way. Remember those epic video game worlds you could get lost in for hours? Imagine that, but it's always there, it's evolving, and you can meet up with friends, work on projects, even own virtual real estate there.
It's not just about escaping into a digital playground, though. It's really an extension of how we're already living our lives online. We're always socializing, shopping, learning, even working within these digital spaces,
Yeah.
right? The metaverse wants to blend those experiences even more seamlessly with our physical reality.
Which honestly is both exciting and kind of mind-blowing. But I'm already seeing the potential here, and this is where it gets really interesting for our deep dive. Could no code be the secret weapon for building this crazy complex metaverse everyone's talking about? Could this be how anyone, not just these big tech giants, could help shape these digital worlds?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the answer, it's surprisingly nuanced. It eyes a million-dollar question. And you know what? One of the articles actually had a really great analogy to explain all this.
Oh, I love a good analogy. Lay it on me.
Okay, so they said no-code platforms are kind of like giving someone all the tools to build a custom motorcycle, right?
Okay, I'm following.
You can swap out the handlebars, maybe change the paint job, even tweak the engine a bit. But if you want to build like a high-performance racing machine, you're going to need some serious engineering know-how.
So no code is great for customizing the ride, but for a total rebuild, you got to know what's under the hood.
Exactly. No code can totally empower creators to build some impressive stuff in the metaverse. Like, think of designing a website today.
Right.
It's like that. You could set up a virtual storefront, maybe show off your digital fashion line, build an interactive art gallery to display your NFT collection.
Yeah.
The possibilities are pretty mind-blowing. But for the really next-level metaverse experiences, like hyper-realistic physics, the complex game mechanics, the kind of stuff that makes you forget you're even in a virtual world, you're still going to need those hardcore coding skills.
That makes sense. One of the articles talked about how NVIDIA is building those massive photorealistic 3D environments for the metaverse. That level of detail has got to take some serious code, right?
Oh, absolutely. And it's not just about the visuals either. The metaverse we're talking about, the one with persistent digital ownership that relies heavily on blockchain technology, which is a whole other deep dive.
Yeah, we might need like a whole series for that one.
Right. But essentially, it's like the secure backbone for buying, selling, owning all those digital assets in these worlds. And for that, you need coders who are fluent in blockchain, cryptography.
Yeah.
It's the Wild West out there, but it's also where things get really interesting.
So it's not really about no code taking over the world. It's more like figuring out how both no code and traditional coding are going to work together to build this metaverse. Almost like no code can build the foundation, and then you bring in the coding experts to create the penthouse suite.
Love that analogy. And what's even more exciting is this idea of collaboration, right? One of the articles talked about how metaverse development is going to require teams with all these different skill sets.
Oh, for sure. You'll need the visual designers, storytellers, the no code experts, and those coding ninjas all working together.
Yeah.
It's not just a tech thing anymore. It's about bringing together all those creative minds to build something totally unique.
Absolutely right.
Kind of like a digital renaissance, which I am here for. But if we're talking about building a better digital future, we've got to talk about some of the potential downsides too, right? Like, who controls all of this? What about privacy, security, all those big questions?
You're hitting on some seriously crucial points, and it's something we need to be mindful of as we get more excited about the metaverse. And that's exactly what we're going to unpack in the final part of this deep dive. Don't go anywhere.
We're back, deep divers, and things are about to get real. We've been unpacking this whole idea of no-code shaping the metaverse, but it wouldn't be a true deep dive if we just, ignored the bigger picture, right?
Yeah. Right. We got to talk about control, access, like who gets to call the shots in these digital worlds we're building.
Exactly. And one of the articles we dug into, they had this great analogy. It said, entering the metaverse without thinking about governance is like showing up at a party and realizing there are no rules.
Oh, I can see where this is going.
Right. It might be fun for a little while, but then things can get kind of chaotic.
A total chaos. Who sets the boundaries?
Yeah.
Who cleans up the mess? Who makes sure
Right.
everyone feels safe?
Exactly. Without some ground rules, the metaverse could become like the Wild West of the internet.
For sure. So the million-dollar question is, who gets to be the sheriff in this digital town square?
Right.
And honestly, there are no easy answers. We're seeing a lot of big tech companies staking their claims, right? They've got the resources, the platforms, and let's be real, a huge head start on building out all that infrastructure.
Yeah, they're definitely ahead of the game.
But one of the sources made a really interesting point. They're arguing that no code could actually be this powerful tool for democratizing the metaverse, even with those big players already on the field.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. How so?
Well, think about it. If no-code platforms give more people the tools to create, build, even launch their own metaverse experiences, it's less about relying on these tech giants to make all the rules, right?
Right.
It's like instead of just buying a house in some pre-planned neighborhood, you can build your own community, set your own guidelines, decide who you want as your neighbor.
So it's less about dismantling the whole system and more about empowering people to build something new alongside it.
Exactly. We need more voices, more diverse perspectives to shape the future of the metaverse. And that's where things get really exciting, Imagine a metaverse where artists can just launch their own virtual galleries without needing a big-time gallery to represent them.
Right. Or educators could build these immersive learning environments that are totally tailored to their students.
Exactly. And they wouldn't be limited by the constraints of a traditional classroom.
Now that is a metaverse I can get behind.
Yeah.
But even with the best intentions, there's still going to be challenges. I mean, we've seen how things like data privacy, misinformation, online safety, all those issues they play out in the digital spaces we have end up.
Oh, absolutely. Those problems aren't just going to disappear.
Yeah. How do we make sure the metaverse doesn't just amplify them?
You're hitting on the most critical point. And honestly, there are no easy answers. But one article we looked at, they highlighted this idea of ethical design.
Ethical design. Okay.
Yeah, it's basically this idea that we need to start thinking about the potential downsides right from the get-go. We can't just build cool technology and hope for the best, right? We have to consider the impact it could have on individuals, on society as a whole, and bake those considerations into the foundation of the metaverse.
So it's less move fast and break things and more move thoughtfully and build responsibly.
Exactly. We need to have those open conversations, establish some clear guidelines, maybe even rethink how we think about online spaces in general.
It's a massive undertaking, for sure.
Huge. But the stakes, they couldn't be higher.
No pressure, right. Well, deep divers, I think we've officially reached peak brain-stretching capacity for one episode. We've explored no-code, ventured into the metaverse, and even grappled with some of the ethical dilemmas of building new worlds.
And the most exciting part is, this is just the beginning. The story of no-code and the metaverse, it's still being written.
Exactly. So as you keep exploring these tools, as you dive deeper into these possibilities, remember, the future of the digital world isn't just something that happens to you. Oh, it's something we're all creating together.
Keep exploring, keep building, and keep asking the big questions.
This is The Deep Dive, signing off. Until next time, keep those minds curious.